First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakian that's out there in the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Going into the cities and proclaiming the truth on the streets. As we know, things are shaking down. Just found out about a law that's here in my state, California, that bans the Bible, that you have to register your Bible as a assault weapon, and, so eventually, as they had stated, that they want this to take place nationwide, and so we know that eventually that's what's going to happen, bringing in the famine of the word. They kind of show you that shit in the movie, The Book of Eli. Only thing is, with that Jake that was in that movie, The Book of Eli, it was written on his heart. So by the time all that shit had ended, he remembered what was in the Bible, and they were able to translate it. Anyhow, Trump confirms meeting with Kim Jong-un after seeing top Saigon aide at Oval Office. A meeting between the two leaders, the United States and North Korea, will take place in Singapore on June 12. U.S. President Trump confirmed after receiving a senior official from Pyongyang at the White House. So, again, that looks like they're going to have these talks. But wait, there's more. Few days left to avoid full-scale trade war between the United States and Europe, France. Washington has just a few days to take some urgent measures if it wants to avoid unleashing a full-scale trade war with its European allies. France's financial minister Bruno Le Maire has warned during a G7 meeting. We will have a few days to take the necessary steps to avoid a trade war between the EU and the United States to avoid a trade war among G7 members, Le Maire told journalists following a meeting of the G7 finance ministers in Canada's mountain resort of Whistler, British Columbia. He added that it is up to the U.S. to make the first move. So, again, these taxes are here to really hurt the middle class. The EU is not alone in its desire for payback. Canada and Mexico have also vowed to retaliate against the new U.S. tariffs. And there's more upon that because, believe it or not, let's pull one of these up here. Mexico responds to U.S. tariff by imposing own duties. Mexican authorities have introduced tariffs on goods and products imported from the United States to respond to U.S. President Trump's controversial duties on metals. A list of the Mexicari Economy Ministry published in the governmental official gazette included a 20% tariff on U.S. pork, legs and shoulders, apples and potatoes, 20 to 25% on types of cheese and bourbon as of Tuesday. The list also showed that Mexico will impose tariffs of 50% to 25% on U.S. steel products in direct response to U.S. metal tariffs, which was introduced in March, and would include 25% duty on steel and 15% on aluminum. So, either way, what's happening is the deep state, Amalek, is fucking off the allies. And there's more. U.S.-led coalition warplanes pound northeastern Syria, killing 10 civilians. Nearly a dozen civilians have lost their lives with the U.S.-led coalition purposely fighting the Daesh Takfiri terrorist group out of a series of aerial assaults in Syria's northeastern province of Hasakah. So just like they were doing in 2014, same shit here, terrorizing the people of Syria, pretending to fight the terrorist groups. Local sources speaking on condition of enmity told Syria's official news agency that the U.S.-led aerial strikes targeted a large Al-Jaza village north of Daishid town and near the border with Iraq, leaving 10 people dead. The sources added that there were women and children among the fallen victims. So, that's what United Snakes is doing. But wait, there's more going on in Syria. Syria sends letter to UN slamming U.S. airstrikes on Syrian soil. The Syrian government sent a letter to the UN slamming the U.S. coalition's latest airstrikes that allegedly killed 10 civilians in Al-Hasaka. The Syrian Foreign Ministry sent a letter to the UN Security Council and the Security Council chairman in connection with the illegal attacks by the international coalition against the peaceful inhabitants of Syria and against the sovereignty, unity, and security of the Syrian territory, the Foreign Ministry said. But you know the United States is just going to keep on doing it, because that's what Amalek tells them to do. So, there's more. Afrin for sale. Turkish-backed rebels buy bases in northwest Aleppo. So, like Bashar al-Assad said, you know, Turkey, all these countries in there are all terrorists, because that's who Turkey supports, is the terrorists. The rebel group Boko al-Haram has begun purchasing bases in the Afrin region of northeast Aleppo, pro-opposition activists reported on Monday. According to the reports, Falah al-Haram purchased the Brigade 135 base in Afrin from their allies from the Al-Mu'tasim Brigade of the Free Syrian Army, which is now Syrian Democratic Forces. Falah al-Haram was previously headquartered in eastern Ghouta region of Damascus. However, their defeat at the hands of the Syrian Arab Army forced them to relocate to the Turkish-held areas. Since moving to northern Syria, Falah has attempted to establish a foothold in the Afrin region that once controlled by the Kurdish-led People's Protection, YPG. So, anyhow, that's what's going on there. But there's more going on. Of course, I've been following the hurricane, so we'll take a look at that. Or not the hurricane, but the volcano. Sorry, because there was one in Guatemala as well as the one that continues in Hawaii.
Abu 7, we have some new activity at the crater in Hawaii. And you can see right here the volcano 5.5, 5.8 struck this region. Look down here real quick and see this was right there at the top. A negative 1.1 on one reading, the other reading a 1.8 kilometer. Now, we had scientists concerned, and they stated right here, and this was before these quakes, that these rocks, these big boulders were shook loose and they kind of plugged the hole up there at the top, and they were unsure what this meant. What was going to happen from here, if there was going to be big explosions to follow, or what exactly was going to go down. What they're saying right now is it's uncertain. One thing is for sure, within the past hour, there has been a pretty large earthquake right there at the top, strike the region. This comes on the heels of Guatemala getting hit by a volcano as well, at least 7 killed, that they're stating here, causing nearly 300 to be evacuated. And I've seen numbers all over the place, people saying 500 killed, 300 injured. What I see is 300 people evacuated. Not a defined number on the injured, although I'm going to say it's probably several. And there are video clips like this one that show this massive plume of smoke coming up as these people are just standing there filming. A lot of volcanic activity here recently. We've seen some wild weather already this year. And now here, just within the same day, Guatemala and Hawaii dealing with issues in terms of the volcanoes. I'm going to leave links. I'll continue to update with more information as I come across it. This has been Dabu 7. Peace.
So anyhow, yes, definitely giving credit to Dabu7, who puts together good videos. But I have more here.
The Lower East Rift Zone in the Leilani Estates area, Fissure 8 was the most active fissure overnight. It was producing fountains up to 250 feet high and continued to feed a lava flow moving north out of the Leilani Estates area, and then which turned northeast along Route 132 into the Nori Farms Road area. This morning, as of 6:15 a.m., it was about 2 miles from the Four Corners intersection, and that's about 2 miles to the west. Currently, the county is advising Vacation Lands and Kapoho Beach Lots residents to evacuate because of the danger of roads in the area being cut off by lava flows. And we should also note that cell phone towers and regular landlines have been heavily damaged in the area, and so there may be reduced service.
So, if you were planning to go to Hawaii, I think that you might want to put your vacation plans on hold. This is just going back to what Yahweh Shai said, that there'd be earthquakes in diverse places.
Volcano Observatory reports that vigorous lava eruptions continue from the Lower East Rift Zone fissure system in the area of Leilani Estates and Lanapuna Gardens. Due to the active volcanic eruptions, Mayor Kim has issued a mandatory evacuation order for Leilani Estates. Starting at 12:06 p.m. today, the mandatory evacuation order is in effect for all civilians in Leilani Estates, including and east of Pameak High Street. Everyone will have 24 hours from the effective date and time to evacuate the mandatory evacuation area. Persons remaining in the mandatory evacuation area beyond the effective date and time of this order do so at their own risk, with the knowledge that emergency responders may not respond. Persons in violation of this order are subject to arrest, and will be liable for any costs associated with rescue operations in the mandatory evacuation area. Refusing to evacuate may put you, your family, and first responders
into a FEMA camp.
Warnings from civil defense officials and stay alert.
So, just like they used Hurricane Harvey, they're using this to put people in them fucking concentration camps. And that's just one part of it. We ain't even dealt with Guatemala.
Summit crater, we are still seeing intermittent ash eruptions and still experiencing elevated seismicity and heavy gas output. The National Weather Service yesterday notified us of a plume rising to about 12,000 feet, but because of weather, visibility was so bad that we were having trouble confirming it on the ground. Regardless, we expect ash plumes to continue, as well as the elevated seismicity and gas emissions.
So, anyhow, that's, I will end it here and then continue on more, because I only have like a 15-minute limit on these videos, as I don't have a full subscription to Screencast-O-Matic. But, yeah, this is just the Hawaii part, and, and I always say pray for our camp there, because, we don't have much more time to go out there and teach as we're seeing these things pop off. So that must mean that we're closer to our goal. Shalom. Until next video.